Congressman, thank you for coming out and meeting people today. I know that Trump administration's conflicts of interest have been a concern both with his business interests and his foreign interests, and it's a distraction across America and across the world. Would you support an independent investigation just to put the distraction to rest? Let us know, yes or no. Are there conflicts of interest or not?
Right up there. And I'm disappointed that you didn't address one issue, one major issue.
Well, this was an opening for an office. I wanted to explain to
This
the
was
people
supposed to be a 12-ball.
Period. I'll do that
We're
later.
supposed to go
Why did you leave for
April is
69?
This is a listening session. This is how we do them. It's how I do every one of them. Hundreds and hundreds I do. I've already done, I'm going to be doing 15, this little break we had, in every little place I can get to. Okay, so we're going to pass the microphone. Here's how we do it. I sit in this chair right here. This is a listening session. I'm going to sit and I'm going to listen. If you have a comment or question, you can ask it. You can say it, or you can give your statement or ask it. What I would like, you see this crowd, we want everyone to have a chance to be heard. Everybody will obey the rules, we can get through, and everybody can have a chance to say something. Then at the end, I'll try to answer all the questions. Thanks a lot.
I had one question, but I also had the other. I would like to know what happens to these questions we ask you. Will we get an answer? And I wondered if you realized how many of us are very nervous that our president could be under investigation for the crime of colluding with the enemy.
Would you, as a member of Congress, ever consent to a president receiving a gift of significant value from a foreign government? And if not, how would you know whether Trump is receiving presents from a foreign government without reviewing his tax returns? Three weeks ago, on March 27th, I faxed to both your DC office and your local office a letter asking why your staff denied permission for us to video our group's presentation to them concerning issues of importance to us. In that letter, I assured you that we have instructed our members to always behave in a respectful manner when addressing you or your staff, and to not boo, shout, interrupt, or otherwise behave in a raucous manner. In the 3 visits we've made to your local office, I'm certain your staff would agree we've lived up to that pledge. Since then, I have not heard back from you or your staff, and remain perplexed as to why you would object to the wider distribution of your or their views on a particular question. Isn't an informed electorate something that you would consider desirable?
I'm very concerned about Medicare. It is part of the ACA. Part of the funding for Medicare comes from the ACA. And if the ACA is removed, Republicans, at least in the Freedom Caucus, have said they will go after Medicare. Medicare is what all of us who are older than 65 depend on. So please help us with this.
And yes, Medicare is a part of the Obama plan, and henceforth it would be a part of the repeal.
The bigger question here, sir, is can you commit to protect your state's natural resources, including the air we breathe and the water we drink, and oppose any federal cuts that will adversely impact our environment, such as cuts to the EPA?
71% of the voters in this district are in favor of the Affordable Care Act. You have voted to repeal it literally dozens of times. You've never had a plan to replace it. When can we expect you to represent your new constituents in this new district rather than your own ideology?
I'm interested in the EPA. I don't understand why people are getting rid of it when we could be making money with alternative energies. it seems senseless to go back to coal, which is a dying industry.
We, as taxpayers, ask our president to release his tax forms so that we know what taxes, where they're coming from. And in second to that question, our tax money would go for a wall that most people feel that it was promised as a campaign promise and not as a necessity to what this country needs. Are you going to support the tax money to be used for the wall?
My question is, will you support eliminating the employee cap on Social Security and Medicare contributions? Sorry, Congressman, I keep forgetting that you're here to listen and not to actually communicate. But while you're at it, one more, okay. Then I'll be looking forward to his answer to that. While you're at it, how about introducing legislation that forbids Congress from writing the Social Security Trust Fund?
We need an independent investigation. We need to have records subpoenaed. This is not the time for political cowardice. Will you, Congressman, represent the American people, and will you do your job?
And I'm deeply troubled by Russia's interference in our previous election and about allegations that members of the Trump campaign cooperated with Russian government officials. I think it's important for Trump to release his taxes to show once and for all whether he has debts in Russia that might be used as leverage against him. Do you believe, as I do, that Trump should release his taxes to prove that he isn't beholden to Russian interests?
I believe, as most people in this room, that we need a one-payer healthcare system like Medicare for everyone in this country.
And yes, Medicare is a part of the Obama plan, and henceforth it would be a part of the repeal.
Given the current administration is attempting to undo so many environmental protections with no regard to the health of its citizens, my question is, will your position on health care protect the citizens of this state?
And yes, Medicare is a part of the Obama plan, and henceforth it would be a part of the repeal.
But one of the very few things he has never wavered on is his desire to be rich. Now he wants to change the tax code. If we don't see his taxes, how do we know that what he's going after isn't for his personal enrichment in some way? It has to be part of his effort to change the tax code. We have to see his taxes. Thank you.
Donald Trump's Donald Trump. He's our President of the United States. We should respect that.
Also, I'm concerned about the attorneys that have been fired. I realize in the White House, I realize that that's been done in previous administrations. However, they had attorneys in place. Donald Trump does not have attorneys in place. And these attorneys that were fired were investigating the Russian ties.
Donald Trump's Donald Trump. He's our President of the United States. We should respect that.
My story is, I grew up so poor there were days when there was no money to put food on the table, much less money to pay for education. Because of my public education, I am now retired from the Air Force and living in this wonderful place called The Villages. I am very thankful for my public education. I hate to think where I would be if it were not for that education. I paid my taxes for over 40 years, and even though I have no children, I have never begrudged my taxes being used to pay for public education. However, I adamantly oppose the use of any of my taxes being used to pay for private education. We should not be taking money from our public education to pay for private education in any form. Sorry. Betsy DeVos and Donald Trump seem to be committed to scrapping our public education system in favor of a private education system. Sir, what are you going to do to protect and improve our public education for all our children?
Why the government is going to allow a mentally challenged person to have a gun.
In regards to the presidential conversations about draining the swamp, there are lobbyists who are becoming political appointees of federal agencies without a waiting period, which is different than what has happened in past presidential administrations. And in one instance, it was reported that one lobbyist has actually become chief of staff to the cabinet, to the person that got appointed to the cabinet. My question is, what, if any, congressional oversight is there going to be relative to this?
I'm concerned that when Congress returns, President Trump will feel so badly that he needs a win on the health care issue that he will give in to many of the Freedom Caucus's demands, which will hurt many, many more people that are currently hurt, including getting rid of pre-existing conditions, which most people in their 60s have pre-existing conditions.
And yes, Medicare is a part of the Obama plan, henceforth it would be a part of the repeal.
There's been a rise of anti-Semitism in the United States and in this area. Several temples have had threats against them. Donald Trump has not spoken up against it. He did not attend the Passover Seder at the White House, and his press secretary refers to a Holocaust center. What is going to be done about this rise of hatred in this country?
Every 5 minutes since President Trump has been elected has been spent in Mar-a-Lago, and he is on track right now in 1 year to spend more money on his trips than Obama spent in 8 years.
Fake news, fake news.
Are you as concerned and frightened as most of us that we are on the brink of a nuclear war due to the goading of North Korea by Mr. Trump?
want you to make sure you support H.R. 37, which is the Presidential Conflict of Interest Act, where the president's current and future would have to release their tax returns to ensure that there are no conflicts of interest in any of the laws that they're proposing as the executive branch. The current proposals that for this tax reform is of high concern. Some of the estimates look at 42% of the tax cuts will go to people who earn over $1 million a year. The individuals who earn on an average of $50,000 a year, they're looking to get not even a 1%, like a $1 a year tax cut. Meanwhile, the individuals who are making over $1 million a year are looking at hundreds of thousands of dollars of tax cuts. So we are very concerned about the legislation that's being proposed, and especially because we really have no frame of reference for our current executive branch to know how much the billionaires in the cabinet and in the president's seat are benefiting.
I'm a disabled Vietnam veteran. My big concern is for me and my other fellow veterans who are all suffering from Agent Orange. I've been through more crack in the last 10 years than I can imagine, cancer. I have spinal stenosis. I have all these things going on in me. I'm kind of just waiting to die. But I'm concerned about my wife and my family after I leave. Are they going to be able to live on, and will there be veterans benefits for them?
What I want is this. This is what I want. These are the three principles. The care we need at a price we can afford from the doctor we choose. Period. That's it. And Obamacare doesn't do that. It was supposed to allow you to keep the it was supposed to allow you to keep the policy you had. That didn't happen.
Insurance woes, and I'm not going to do that. My husband with dementia, Alzheimer's, plus multiple other things, and you want to stand there with him at home, expect us to be calm, cool, and collective. Wow, what kind of insurance do you have?